The young and the restless spoilers' shock, the tension in Genoa City was palpable, and for Chelsea Lawson, it was becoming harder to breathe under the weight of Victor Newman's influence. She had been trying to play her own hand at Newman Media, trying to carve out a position for herself. But every time she thought she had a handle on things, Victor would throw another wrench into the works. Sitting across from Nikki Newman at Society, Chelsea couldn't shake the feeling that she was in over her head. She had been struggling with the pressure of working under Victor's thumb and trying to please him while also dealing with her own ambitions. But what she realized more than anything was that Victor was a force of nature. Once he made up his mind, there was little anyone could do to change it. The storm he created could not be controlled. "Victor doesn't change his mind, Chelsea," Nikki said, her tone calm but firm, as though she had lived through this many times before. "You know that. When he's made a decision, that's it. Your best bet is to just prepare to control the damage." Chelsea leaned back in her chair, her fingers tapping nervously on the table. "I know. But this is different. He's so focused on Billy and Abbott communications right now. And Adam, he's caught in the middle of all this. It's making everything worse." Nikki's eyes softened with sympathy. "Adam is caught, but Chelsea, sometimes you have to understand that Adam really doesn't have much of a choice. He's playing a dangerous game, but in the end, he's just trying to survive the war Victor is waging. You can't control everything." Chelsea sighed deeply, feeling a weight in her chest. "I can't just sit back and watch Victor destroy everything. Billy doesn't deserve to be a target for Victor's anger." Nikki gave a small nod. "I know, but sometimes you can't stop the storm. All you can do is ride it out and try to manage the fallout. If you try to fight it head-on, you might end up getting caught in the crossfire." Chelsea's frustration was clear, but she nodded reluctantly. "I guess I'll have to find another way to manage it." "Thank you, Nikki. I needed to hear that." Nikki gave her a reassuring smile. "It's a difficult position, but you'll find a way through. Just don't let yourself get lost in Victor's game. Focus on what you can control." Meanwhile, across town, Audra Charles was putting her own plan into motion. Her invitation to the exclusive Dumas event in Nice was a major step in her quest for power, but it was only the beginning. To truly make her mark, she needed to bring Kyle Abbott into the fold. The Abbott family had always been a formidable opponent in Genoa City, but Kyle, who had grown into a strong leader in his own right, could be the key to unlocking Dumas's full potential. Audra knew that getting him to the event would not only give her a stronger position, but it would also help her manipulate the situation to her advantage. But things weren't as simple as they seemed. She was aware of the tension between her and Holden Novak. Their encounter had been anything but friendly, and now it seemed that Victor had caught wind of the friction between them. Holden, with his own motives, had become a wild card in this game of manipulation. Could Victor recruit Holden into his plan? Could he use Holden's knowledge and experience to push his own agenda? Audra wasn't sure, but she knew she had to keep her eyes open. Every player in this game was a potential ally, or a threat. As she plotted her next move, Audra's phone buzzed with a message from Kyle. She glanced at it quickly before responding with a cool, calculated message of her own: "Let's make sure we get to Nice together. The stakes are high, and you need to be there." The mystery surrounding Cole Howard's health was growing increasingly concerning. The man who had been the catalyst for much of the drama in Genoa City was now fighting for his life. He had been battling pneumonia for days, but despite his condition, he had been stubborn about receiving proper medical care. Now, after a sudden decline in his health, Cole was being transferred to a specialist in Chicago. Victoria had been by his side, trying to understand what had gone wrong. But as the news about his transfer reached her, she couldn't help but feel a rising sense of dread. Was this it for Cole? Was this the end of the man she had once trusted? The thought of Cole potentially dying left a bitter taste in her mouth, but what troubled her even more was the effect his situation would have on Claire. Claire had been emotionally attached to Cole in a way that left her vulnerable. If Cole were to die, it would leave Claire shattered, and Victoria feared that the young woman would turn her focus even more onto Cole than onto Kyle. This could, of course, play right into Audra's hands, allowing her to slip into Kyle's life with less resistance. Victoria knew that Claire's grief could be a tool to manipulate, but it also meant that Claire would need someone to lean on. Would she focus on her loss, or would she allow herself to see the reality of the situation? That Kyle, not Cole, was the one she could rely on now? As the clock ticked down to the Dumas event in Nice, the tension between all parties involved reached a boiling point. Victor was pushing Adam to do his bidding, Chelsea was grappling with the consequences of Victor's wrath, and Audra was quietly maneuvering her way into the heart of the power struggle. But the real question remained. Who would come out on top in the battle for control, and how many would be left standing when the dust settled? Dumas, whoever he truly was, held the key to everything. And once his identity was revealed, the game would change for everyone. Let me know if you'd like to further develop the storylines, introduce new plot twists, or focus on specific characters and their motivations. There's a lot of suspense and drama unfolding, and it's only going to get more intense from here. In this dramatic continuation, the tension between Cole and Mariah builds to a boiling point, and the danger surrounding her grows more intense. This sequence emphasizes betrayal, revenge, and the looming threat of Cole's ruthless nature. The looming question is, who will step up to save Mariah, and will anyone be able to stop the monster that Cole has become? The dim light of the room felt suffocating to Mariah as she stood in front of Cole, her heart pounding with both fear and betrayal. The man she had once trusted, the man she had believed could be redeemed, was now a shell of that person, his eyes cold, filled with a darkness she had never seen before. Cole had become a monster. She could feel it in the air, thick with malice. He had been pushing her for days, demanding that she stay silent about what she knew. But tonight, it was different. Tonight, he had crossed a line. "You should have stayed out of it, Mariah," Cole hissed, his voice low and dangerous. "You think you're some hero, some savior, but you're not. You've made a mistake, and now you'll pay for it." Mariah felt her knees tremble beneath her, but she stood her ground. "I didn't want to be a part of this, Cole. But you've dragged me into it. You've hurt people, you've lied." Cole's sharp laugh cut her off, and he stepped closer, his presence suffocating. "And what will you do about it, Mariah? Huh? You think you can stop me? I've been a monster for a long time, and no one can save you now." His words hung in the air like a promise of violence, and Mariah felt a cold shiver run down her spine. Cole wasn't just threatening her, he was taunting her. And worse, he seemed to be reveling in the power he had over her. "Cole, please," she whispered, her voice shaking, "this isn't you. I know you, I know there's still good in you. This isn't who you are." Cole's smile twisted into something dark and cruel, and he leaned in, his breath cold against her skin. "You're wrong. This is exactly who I am. I've always been this way, Mariah. You were just too blind to see it." A surge of desperation hit her. "Cole, you don't have to do this. Please, silence," he shouted, grabbing her by the shoulders and pushing her back hard into the wall. His hands tightened around her arms, and for a split second, Mariah thought he might crush her. "Listen to me, Mariah," he snarled, his voice dripping with venom. "If you say a word about anything you know, I will make sure everyone you care about suffers. You, your family, and those kids of yours. If you keep pushing me, you'll regret it. Keep quiet, and maybe, just maybe, I'll let you live." His words hit her like a slap in the face. Her mind raced, but her body refused to move, frozen in fear. Was this it? Would this be the end for her? Would Cole truly kill her, just like he had threatened? And then, as if the room couldn't feel more suffocating, a voice cut through the tension. "Cole." It was a sharp, commanding voice, one that Mariah knew well. She had never been so relieved to hear it. Victoria appeared at the doorway, her face pale but resolute. Behind her was a figure that Mariah hadn't expected, a man who was as much a shadow as he was a presence. "Let her go, Cole," Victoria demanded, her voice unwavering. "This is not who you are. You're better than this." Cole's eyes snapped toward her, his grip loosening on Mariah for a moment. His face twisted in anger, but Victoria didn't flinch. She stepped forward, her eyes never leaving his. "Get out of my way, Victoria," Cole spat, his voice venomous. "You have no idea what I'm capable of. You should be worried about yourself, not her." But Victoria wasn't backing down. "I'm not afraid of you, Cole. I'm not the woman you think I am. Let her go, or I'll make sure you regret it." The room was thick with tension, but then, as if on cue, Holden Novak, who had been silently waiting in the wings, stepped forward. His eyes locked with Cole's, and his expression was one of pure determination. "Cole," Holden said, his voice calm but firm. "You've done enough. Let her go. This ends tonight." Mariah's heart skipped a beat. She had never expected Holden to be the one to step in, but here he was, a surprising ally in her darkest moment. Cole's eyes flickered between Victoria and Holden, the anger building inside him. He wasn't used to being challenged, not like this, not by people who knew him. But something about Holden's presence, about Victoria's unyielding stance, made him hesitate. For a moment, the monster that Cole had become wavered, just a little. "You think you can stop me?" Cole's voice was lower now, but still filled with rage. "You think you can just waltz in here and fix everything?" Holden stepped closer, his posture unyielding. "This isn't you, Cole. You're not a killer. You don't have to do this. Walk away now, and maybe we can fix this." The weight of the situation hung in the air, but for the first time, Cole seemed to waver. His grip on Mariah loosened completely, and she slid away from him, her breath coming in sharp gasps. "This isn't over," Cole growled, his eyes burning with fury. But without another word, he turned and stormed out of the room, slamming the door behind him. Mariah collapsed into Victoria's arms, her body shaking with the aftershock of what had just transpired. Victoria held her tight, whispering soothing words, but it was Holden's presence that gave her the strength to breathe again. "You're safe now," Holden said softly, his eyes locked on hers. "Cole won't hurt you again." Mariah's mind was still reeling from the confrontation, but for the first time in what felt like forever, she felt a glimmer of hope. The danger was far from over. Cole was still out there, and his thirst for power had not been quenched. But for tonight, at least, she was safe. The question that lingered in her mind, though, was clear: would Cole truly stop, or was this just the beginning of something far more dangerous? If you'd like to explore further the consequences of Cole's behavior, the alliances between the characters, or the potential future confrontations, feel free to let me know. The drama continues to escalate, and the stakes are higher than ever.